Hi everyone, this is the solution for the revision set, SA2 Revision Set 2's Booklet B. Well, this is actually the second time I'm recording this because the first time the audio was horrible. Alright, so the answers are already there, so I'm just going to run through this fairly quickly this time around. Now let's look at question 31. So diagram below shows the human digestive system. Alright, so which parts A, B and C, D produces digestive juices? So the first thing you need to do is to identify A, B, C and D. So A is the gullet, B is the stomach, C is the small intestine, and D is your large intestine. Alright, so which part produces digestive juices? So basically it's B and C. Why? Because B is your stomach. So stomach is where digestion starts. Or well, actually is the main bulk of digestion occurs at your stomach, so that's where you need digestive juices. Your small intestines also finishes up the digestion process, so it needs digestive juices as well. Large intestines does not do digestion, so please don't make that misconception. The large intestines, the function is to absorb water. So no digestive juices is found in your large intestine. Gullet obviously not. So the purpose of gullet is just to push the food down. So Ken has watery stools. Watery stools are not the stool that you sit on. Stools are basically the poop, the feces. Watery stools are basically the feces that are very watery, like when you have diarrhea. So which part of the digestive system is not functioning well? And you're supposed to explain your answer. The part is D, the large intestines. Okay, because remember, function of large intestine is to absorb water. Correct? So if the large intestine is not functioning well, and it is not functioning well because of either bacteria or a virus infection, then it's not going to absorb water. Then your undigested food is going to be very watery. Alright, so that's why when your digestive system is working well, your stool is relatively hard, okay, and not watery. Okay, so D, the large intestine, is not able to absorb water from the undigested food. Let's look at question 32. Which part of the flowers produce pollen grains? Well, C is the anther, so that's the one that produces pollen grains. So she removed two parts of the flowers, and the flowers did not produce any seeds after that. So which part will remove? So if you look carefully, this A is the petal. Remove the petal, doesn't matter. Pollination, fertilization can still take place. If I remove the anther, the stigma, yes, it will not receive pollen from the flower itself, but remember, it can receive pollen from another flower. It doesn't necessarily have to be from the same flower. Okay, so although I can remove C, but the flower can still be pollinated and can still be fertilized. Now, if I want to stop this flower from producing seeds, I need to remove the stigma so that it doesn't catch any pollen grains. And obviously, the other part is to remove the ovary. Once I remove the ovary, there's no seed at all. Okay, so that's why it's B and D, because B is the stigma, which is needed to receive the pollen grains, and D is the ovary, which contains the ovules that will develop into seeds after fertilization. Question 33. Table below shows the characteristics of 4 different living things, and using the smiley face to represent the characteristics of each of the living things. So which groups do they belong to? So let's take a look. A is reproduced by seeds and can make food, so obviously it's a plant. B, 6 legs, most lay eggs, so 6 legs, definitely it has to be an insect. C, most give birth to young alive. At this point we're not too sure yet, so let's move to D first. Breathe through gills. Definitely if you breathe through gills and if you lay eggs, you are definitely a fish. Okay, so C, it's a tie between mammals and birds. But birds, they don't give birth to young alive, they lay eggs. So obviously C will be a mammal. Besides giving birth to young alive, state another characteristics of living things in group C. So if C is a mammal, another characteristics would be have hair, or you can say it gives birth, oh no, cannot. You can say that it breathes through lungs. Most mammals breathe through lungs. The other characteristics that a mammal must have is to its ability to feed, provide milk for its young. Okay. Now, under which group does a platypus? So platypus belongs to a mammal. It's a mammal, so it belongs to group C. 34. So basically, what happens here? She placed 4 plants in the same container with same amount of water. So the variables are the same container, same amount of water, next to the window for 1 hour. So same location. Alright, so after 1 hour, she measured water levels in each jar, found the water levels to be this so much, and you're supposed to complete the table. Now, so the key idea here is, if you look here, G has its roots wrapped in plastic bags, so obviously it cannot take in water. Okay, so G will definitely be the first one. Okay, because its water level will not drop. It cannot take in water. Now, how about the rest, E, F, and H? So the key idea here is, and you look at the difference here, it's the number of leaves. Correct? So the key idea here is, if I have more leaves, I have more water taken in. Why? Because each leaf requires a certain amount of water to produce food or to make food. So if, let's say, one leaf uses 1 unit, 6 leaves uses 6 units. So the more leaves I have, the more water required. Okay? So based on that, E is the one with the most leaves, so definitely the most number of water will be used up, and so that's why the water level will be the lowest. Alright, and then the other two, you arrange it like that. So which two setups should she use to prove that roots absorb water? So I want to prove that roots absorb water. So G definitely will be one of them, and because it is wrapped in plastic bag. Now, which is the other setup that I must use? So remember, the variable that will be changing is the roots cannot absorb water. So E, F, and H, all the roots can absorb water. But if you look at the variables, all other variables must be kept the same. 6 leaves, so definitely I must use E because E has 6 leaves as well. Okay? So E and G, because all other variables were the same between setup E and G, except that the roots in setup G was wrapped up. Now part C, if the plant in setup G does not die, what might he observe? So basically you observe that the leaves will wilt. It will bend downwards, it will look very weak and all these things. So the term that we use is wilt. (35) Based on the table, classify by writing I, J, and K correctly. So animal cell and plant cell. So let's look. What differentiates an animal cell from a plant cell? Yes, it's the cell wall and chloroplast. Only plant cells have cell wall and chloroplast. Okay, so if you look here, J, yes for cell wall, yes for chloroplast. So J is the only plant, because I is no, K is no. Okay. True or false? All plant cells contain chloroplast. This is false, because my root cells, it's a plant cell, but it does not contain chloroplast. It doesn't need to make food. Larger animals have greater number of cells than small animals. That's true. Just like a Lego figure. The bigger your Lego figure, the more pieces of Lego blocks you need. Smaller Lego figures, lesser Lego blocks. Same thing. Bigger animals, more number of cells. Because your cells, the size is the same. It doesn't have bigger cells. It's more number of cells. Nucleus in cells help control movement of materials in and out of cells. No, that's not the function of the nucleus. That's the function of the cell membrane. Cell membranes gives a regular shape. Again, no, it's the function of the cell wall. 36. Describe how seeds of plant A can be dispersed by animals over a wide area. So basically, because it's fleshy, contains seeds that are small and hard. So when the animal eats the fruit, because it's fleshy, you will eat the fruit, the seed will go into the tummy. And because it's hard, it cannot be digested. When after the animals move to another place, it will pass it out, and that's how it is dispersed. Now, for part B and C, basically you're supposed to state one advantage for both parties, both the animal as well as the plant B. Okay? So, the advantage for Y is I don't put everything in one spot, and if that one spot is disturbed or removed, then I've lost all my seeds, all my food. Okay, so the fact that I put in many places, if one is taken away, I still got other places. For the plant, it's good because if everything is bunched in together, then I'm not being dispersed. But the fact that the animal plants it at different places, that allows the seeds to be dispersed. Okay, so that is the advantage for both the plants as well as for the animal. Now question 37. From the results, which rod is most suitable to be used to make a lightning conductor? Okay, so now what is a lightning conductor? Basically, lightning conductors are found in buildings. So when the lightning strikes, because lightning is electricity, if you don't have a lightning conductor, the electricity that was when it strikes the building, the electricity will fly all over the place and it will hurt the people inside the building. So electric conductors, basically because it's an electrical conductor, the electricity will flow through the lightning conductor down into the ground where it's safe and disperse out in the ground. Okay, so basically your lightning conductor has to be an electrical conductor. And so rod V is used because it allows electricity to pass through based on this result here. When I put V across P and Q, the bulb lights up. So that means it allows electricity to pass through. So the father warned that he might experience an electrical shock if he touches the exposed copper wires. So why? Because copper is an electrical conductor. Because it conducts electricity, so when you touch it, you will get electric shock. Now question 38. How is L different from M? So L, let's look. Start. Is it a matter? Yes. So both L and M are both matter, so that's the same. Does it have a definite shape? Yes for L, no for M. Okay, so this is the thing that differentiates L and M. Not this. Does it have a definite volume? Because L doesn't answer or doesn't have this question asked at L. So L and M both have this question asked, and one has yes, one has no. So that's the property that differentiates L and M. Okay? So L has a definite shape while M does not have a definite shape. Now please don't stop at L has a definite shape while M does not. Full stop. Does not what? Okay, so you need to continue. Does not have a definite shape. Now which letter represents steam? So steam, remember, is hot water vapor. It's not the water droplets, it's hot water vapor. So it's a gas. So is it a matter? Yes. Steam is a gas. Definite shape? No. Gas has no definite shape. Definite volume? No. Gas has no definite volume. So that's why N. Okay? Remember, if you have any questions along the way, please raise your hands and ask. 39. Set up the circuits X and Y. Now, write down the number of bulbs that remain lit when one of the bulbs in each circuit was blown. So let's take, for example, this bulb is blown. Which will remain lit? Because this is parallel, when one is blown, the rest will continue to remain lit. So X has 3. But Y, let's say this is blown, because this is in series, this will not light up as well. But because these two parallel, these two bulbs will continue to light up. Okay, so that's why X is 3, Y is 2. Now refer to this circuit. Write down the least number of bulbs that remain lit when one of the bulbs in the circuit is blown. Okay, so let's say I take for example B1. If B1 is blown, what's going to happen? Yeah, this is an open circuit. So that means everything will not light up. 0. But if B2 is blown, because this is in parallel, my electricity can still flow through like that. Then all 3 can light up. So that's the most number of bulbs that can light up. So the least number of bulbs is 0 because of this reason over here. Pause at any time because I'm going through at rapid speed. Now question 40. Conducted an experiment to study the rate of evaporation of water placed in different containers. Poured 50 ml of water into each of the 3 containers A, B and C. So same amount of water. Place them beside a window, same location, measure the amount of water left at regular intervals, plotted the graph after 2 days. Okay, so after 2 days, what's going to happen? Now, so the concept here is that the bigger my exposed surface area, see B, the exposed surface area is so big. The bigger my exposed surface area, the faster the rate of evaporation. Okay, because more water can be evaporated as compared to C. So small, the amount of water vapor that can fly out at any one point is very little. Okay, so that's why C, because it has the smallest exposed surface area, at the end of 2 days it will have still contain the most amount of water because evaporation for C will be the slowest. Versus B, largest exposed surface area, fastest rate of evaporation, least amount of water at the end. Get it? So based on the results, what conclusion? So basically this, larger the exposed surface area, faster the rate of evaporation. This is something you must know. Now question 41. When you see these kind of questions, when they ask you the boiling point, melting point, and at a certain temperature, what is the state? Always draw this temperature graph, temperature line. So boiling point boiling point is here. So boiling point will differentiate between gas and liquid, because boiling will change from liquid to gas. And melting point is the same as freezing point, basically when I have solid ice, or I mean solid, when it melts it becomes a liquid. Okay, so this is how I draw it out like that. So at this part here is solid, this part here is liquid, this part here is gas. So 25 degrees for W. 25 degrees is here, where my rate X is. So this is a gas. 25 is somewhere in between here, so this is a liquid. So that's how I decide whether one is a gas, one is a liquid. Now after taking a hot shower, needed to brush his teeth, but he see that it's misty. So reason is because when he bathed, presumably he's using hot shower, so heat, so it causes evaporation. So then the hot water vapor or the warm water vapor from the surrounding air will touch the cooler surface of the mirror, loses heat, changes to water droplets, and thus forming the mist. So when you open the door after a while, leaving the door open, it will not cause the mist, or it will cause the mist to go away. Why? Because the water vapor would then be able to escape. So then the less water vapor or no water vapor would condense on the mirror. Okay, so basically, yeah, that's the whole reason why. 42. So arrange the beakers from the least to the most amount of heat they contain. So one thing you must remember, the greater the volume, the more water I have, the more heat contains. Okay, because each water molecule contains a certain amount of heat. So the more water molecules I have, the more heat I have. Just like more people that I have in a room, it gets very hot, because the more each of us contains a certain amount of heat. So the more people, the more molecules, the more water, the more heat there is. Okay, so then I want to find out which one has the least amount of heat. Basically it will be D, because it has the lowest temperature, least amount of heat, and the least amount of water at the same time. Okay, the one with the most amount of heat will be this at 70 degrees, and because it has 500 ml, the most amount of water, the most amount of temperature. So this C has the most amount of heat. Okay, now then deciding between A and B, both have same temperature, but both A has more water compared to B. So like I said, the more water you have, the more heat you have. So because A has more water, A will have more heat. So A is here, B is here. Now he wants to find out if the amount of water affects the amount of heat in each beaker. So which two setups should he use? Amount of water affects the amount of heat. So that means my temperature must be the same, because I want to see whether if I have more water, I have more heat. So obviously A and B should be the ones that are used. Sorry. And because the amount of water is different. Okay? Right, question 43. So if A walked in a straight line from E to F, E to G, at F she was directly under the lamp. Okay, so distance between E and F and G is the same. Alright. So if you look at this graph, time passes because she walks, that take time, right? So length of shadow will drop to 0, and then she continue again, it will increase again. So two properties of light causes shadows to be formed. One of them is light travels in a straight line. What is the other property? Well, light travels in a straight line, that's not enough, because if it's a transparent object, light will just pass through, no shadows will be formed. But because light can be blocked, or light cannot pass through opaque objects, that's why shadow is formed. Okay, so basically shadow is the absence of light. When there's no light, shadow is formed. Now, so part B is if A walking towards or away the lamppost during period X. So is she walking away or towards the lamppost or away from the lamppost? Basically, if you look at X, the length of shadow is dropping. So obviously, when you are directly under the lamp, your shadow will be 0 because you are directly under. It's just like when at noontime, the sun is directly above you, your shadow is very little, almost no shadow. So obviously, when my shadow is decreasing, she is walking towards the lamp. When my shadow starts to increase, it's because she's walking away from the lamp. Okay, so that's why B is towards the lamppost because shadow length is decreasing. C is away from the lamppost because shadow length is increasing. Now if you can't imagine this and you don't understand what my hands are doing, get your teacher to use torchlights, or you can use a torchlight, use a pen to represent Ife, torchlight to represent the lamp. See for yourself. Okay? Last question. Pasted a piece of paper under a magnet and held them above 7 thumbtacks like that. Held them, the magnet is above 7 cm above the table. Repeated the experiment using different number of sheets. Okay, with the same magnet at the same height. So when I have 2 pieces of paper, I can attract 7 thumbtacks. 4 pieces, I can attract 4. 6, I only can attract 1. And when I have 7 pieces of paper, I can attract 0 thumbtacks. So based on the above results, state the relationship. So very common, very popular relationship kind of question. So relationship is always between 2 person. So always identify who is the 2. Relationship between someone and someone. So between number of pieces of paper, that's my first person, and number of thumbtacks attracted, that's my second person. So in your answer, you must put down the full thing, not half a person. So if you look here, as the number of the pieces of paper increases, my number of thumbtacks attracted, decreases. So that's why your answer is like that. Number of pieces of paper increases, number of thumbtacks attracted decreases. Okay, so everything, number of pieces of paper, number of thumbtacks attracted, number of thumbtacks attracted. So please put everything down. Don't leave out any words. Okay, very important when you talk about relationship. So what is the variable that was changed? Very obviously, it's the number of pieces of paper. That is the variable that changed. And one other variable that was unchanged, so there are so many types of variable that was unchanged. Type of paper, type of thumbtacks, the distance, the distance between the magnet and the paper. So any other variable. Okay. So if you have any questions, please do feel free to ask, and otherwise, thank you.